Hi, I'm Kelsey from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, and today I'm going to show you how to sprout seeds on your countertop. So first of all, what do you even use sprouts for? They are really delicious just to toss into salads. They're awesome on sandwiches. They're really good mixed into stir fries. They're just a really good way to get some good, healthy, fresh greens in the middle of winter. It's January here right now in Minnesota, and so having something fresh and growing and alive is really going to be delicious for our lunches, suppers, and even breakfast. I even eat these things on eggs. So I'm going to show you how we do it with this really simple little sprouter here and talk you through some of the important things you want to know. First of all, you can definitely sprout seeds just in a jar if you want to, like a regular old mason jar works fine. These are really nice because you can do a large amount of sprouts at a time. Sprouts will keep for about a week in the refrigerator, sometimes a little bit longer. And because of the different trays in here, you can sprout multiple different types. Now this sprouter is the Victorio sprouter or germinator, sometimes it's called as well. And I think this is around $20 on Amazon. I will link it below. So something like this isn't that expensive, and it's something you're going to be able to use for years and years. Now, first things first, when you get this, you want to make sure you wash it. This one is top rack dishwasher safe. Check with yours. Maybe it needs to be hand washed, but always give it a good wash beforehand. And this is really all you're going to need. Some seeds, a measuring spoon, and some water, and that's all you need to have some really good sprouts. So that's what this is. So we've got all the different trays here. The trays all have a few little small holes in there that's going to allow water to run through. And then on each tray, you're going to be sprouting either the same kind or different types of seeds. So let's talk about what sort of seeds you need to sprout. So really, there's a lot of different kinds of seeds you can do. You can do kale, you can do beans, broccoli, radishes, onions, really just about anything. But it's really important that when you are getting seeds to sprout, you're not just going out and scooping up some of your goat oats or something and sprouting it in here, because sprouts can be a carrier of different types of bacteria. The ones you want to look out for, of course, are E. coli and salmonella. So I really recommend that if you're going to be buying seeds online from someone, you make sure that their seeds are tested for those things, because you can make yourself really sick from sprouts if they haven't been tested for those. So just make sure you check on that. So again, even I probably wouldn't go to like our local co-op or anything like that and just buy seeds for sprouting unless I knew for sure that they had been tested for those things. So just be cautious with that. So the seeds that I got for sprouting, this is a sprouting mix that I got from Johnny's. I'm a big fan of Johnny's selected seeds. These are certified organic. These I know they have certified as well, have been tested for E. coli and salmonella. And so this is what we are going to use for sprouting. So I will show you now how we go ahead and do that. So in terms of the setup of this, you want to make sure on the bottom, these are all pretty much made the same. So even if you don't have this exact same model, it's going to be pretty similar. On the bottom, you should have one that is a solid piece of plastic typically that is going to collect excess water. And then on top of that, you have all the trays. The trays should pretty much be the same. Again, it will probably have little ridges in there and then some holes where the water is going to drain through. So you have your base first, and then you set your tray in, and then we are going to add our seeds. So when we add the seeds, you want to add anywhere between a half a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of seeds. The seeds, once they sprout, are going to get a lot bigger and take up a lot of space. So to make sure they have that room to grow, you're going to put in less than you think you want. It's kind of like putting barley in a soup or noodles in a soup. You always put way less than you think you need, because otherwise you're going to end up with like a hot dish. So same kind of thing, put less than you think you need. So I'll show you what is about what I typically do for sprouting seeds. Okay, so then after you have added your seeds to the tray, you just go ahead and take the next layer and put that on top and add in more seeds. And again, you can do different types of seeds in each individual tray, or like I'm doing, this is just a real big mix of a whole bunch of different seeds that I'm doing all together. So I'm just gonna place the last layers here on top. And then this model does come with a lid. When you're sprouting, you do not want to be using the lid. It will affect how the water drains. It creates kind of a bit of a suction. So no lid on top. The lid is just if you want to put it on top of your sprouts and stick it in the refrigerator. And the next thing we are going to do is just add water to the top. So I have 2 cups of filtered water here, and I'm just going to pour that over the top. Now Now that water is going to start filtering down through all of the other trays, soaking all the seeds down to this bottom storage compartment. So this is something that you need to do twice every day. So usually in the morning when I get up, I empty the bottom tray, pour in another 2 cups of water, and then at night I do the same thing. So twice a day. You can do it more often than that if you want to, but I find that twice a day works just fine. This is going to take just a couple of days to have some beautiful sprouts. You may even see some sprouting action tomorrow. So we'll check back in and I will show you the whole sprouting journey. An important thing that you want to make sure you're doing with your sprouts as you're growing them is rotating the trays. So I water this twice a day, and so it's time for it to be watered. And before I water it, I will take off the top 3 and leave this one on the bottom, and then I will put the bottom one on the top and then put the whole thing back together. That's just the way that I do it. It helps me keep track of how it is supposed to be rotated. So again, you can do whatever system works for you. If you want to pick the whole thing up, take the top tray, put it on the bottom, whatever makes sense for you. But for me, I just always find it easier just to take off the top, set the bottom on top, and then put the whole caboodle back on there. These seeds are the ones I started yesterday, so it's been just a little over 24 hours. And you can see there already that we are getting some sprouts starting to grow. So here you can see less than a week later, we have a beautiful turnout of sprouts. Some of the trays I could have seeded a little bit more. You can see this one's a little bit more sparse. You will have some seeds that aren't going to sprout. That's not a big deal. They'll actually still be pretty delicious and crunchy. And at this point, if you aren't ready to eat them, don't wash them. You can just store them in this container. Most of these little sprouters like this one come with a lid. You can just put on there and pop it in the fridge, or just store it in any other sort of container you'd like. I don't recommend using just like a plastic bag or something like that. I would put them in a solid container. And then from here, if you are planning on using them right away, you want to give them a really good rinse first. The best way that I have found to dry your sprouts, you can just lay them out on a towel if you want, let them kind of air dry. I personally just like to toss them in my salad spinner here, whip them around a few times, and they will be just about perfect. Your sprouts should keep in the fridge well for about a week or so. Remember, make sure to not wash them if you aren't going to use them right away, and then just wash them before you use them. One thing you can do with your sprouts is if you want to have sort of a continuous supply is instead of starting each one of the levels at the same time, you can start them on different days. So that way you'll have sprouts maturing at different times. If you have any questions about growing sprouts or have any really great suggestions for me, please go ahead and share those in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Check back here every single week for a new video, and over at the blog for 2 new posts every single week. You can always find us here with more content about farming, family, food, and fortitude here at our Rough and Tumble farmhouse.